What is up, everybody? Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're tackling D471 Global Supply Chain Management. And honestly, we are diving right into the absolute boss fight of the course, Competency 1. This section covers supply chain management and risks, and yeah, it's a total beast. But hey, don't sweat it. I'm going to break down the exact strategies, the core concepts, and those hidden traps you need to dodge so you can level up and totally crush this competency. All right, let's get into it. Here's our quest roadmap for the levels we're clearing today. First up, the anatomy. Then, the bullwhip trap. After that, strategy and bottlenecks. And finally, global risks. Now, before we jump in, you really got to understand the sheer weight of what we're dealing with here. Competency 1 literally makes up 20% of your entire exam. That is a massive chunk. It's a critical, high-value target for sure. Mastering these specific supply chain and risk concepts, it's not just about passing one little section. It's actually about building this rock-solid foundation that's going to carry you through the remaining 80% of the material. All right, let's hit level 1, the anatomy. So what exactly is a supply chain anyway? Well, ultimately, it's just the entire network of businesses involved in creating value for the final consumer. And to understand it, you absolutely need to know the two main directions of flow. Upstream and downstream. Think about upstream first. This is where your raw materials come from, right? You've got miners extracting ore, farmers growing crops, or maybe manufacturers building the base components. Then you flip it over to downstream. This is where the finished product actually goes. It flows through the distributors, hits the retail shelves, and finally, it ends up in the hands of you, the consumer. The crazy thing is, every single decision made upstream, no matter how small, drastically impacts what happens downstream. Now, to actually move those products from upstream to downstream, supply chains use different systems. Honestly, think of it like a solid gym routine. Just like you'd run a strict push, pull, and leg split to build muscle, a supply chain relies heavily on push and pull systems. A push system, that's kind of like a super rigid, pre-planned workout schedule. It builds inventory based entirely on forecasts and then just aggressively pushes it out to store shelves, basically crossing its fingers and hoping the demand will actually be there. A pull system, on the other hand, is totally customer-driven. It literally waits for you to buy the item before it pulls a replacement through the network. It's agile, it's highly responsive, and the best part, it doesn't waste energy overproducing.
Okay, moving on to level 2, the bullwhip trap.
Listen, if you remember only one single thing from this entire explainer, please make it this: the bullwhip effect. It is basically a massive, totally distorted wave of fake demand. Picture this. A customer changes their buying habits just a tiny bit down at the retail level. Well, the retailer panics slightly and orders a little extra, just to be safe. Then the distributor sees that bump in the order, panics a bit more, and orders a lot extra from the manufacturer. By the time that signal finally hits the upstream factory, boom, it's a massive, chaotic tidal wave of distortion. Those tiny little shifts downstream create absolute immense panic upstream. So that begs the big question, right? How do we defeat this trap? How on earth do businesses overcome this massive distortion before it completely wrecks their inventory and literally costs them millions of dollars? Well, the ultimate weapon against the bullwhip effect is real-time information sharing, specifically using enterprise resource planning or ERP systems. See, when everyone in the network, from the mom-and-pop retailer all the way up to the giant raw material supplier, uses an integrated ERP system, they are all looking at the exact same real-time point-of-sale data. There is zero guessing. There's absolutely no panic. The distortion just completely disappears because the communication is instantaneous and totally transparent. It's basically a cheat code for supply chains.
Next up, level 3, strategy and bottlenecks.
Every single supply chain has to pick a specific strategy if they want to dominate their market. And generally speaking, you've got two main paths. The first is the cost productivity advantage. If you go down this route, you are fighting tooth and nail to be the absolute lowest cost provider. You do this by maximizing efficiency and just stripping out every single unnecessary expense. But then you have this second path, the value advantage. With this one, you aren't really competing on price at all. Instead, you're fighting to provide this premium, highly customized service or product that customers are more than happy to pay extra for. The catch is, you have to completely align your entire supply chain design with whichever advantage you actually choose. But here's the harsh reality. No matter how brilliant your strategy is, you are eventually going to hit bottlenecks. Things are just going to slow down. Enter the theory of constraints, or TOC. Think of this as your ultimate operational tool for clearing out those massive traffic jams in your workflow. It's all based on this one simple idea. Every single system has at least one constraint, a weak link basically, that completely dictates the speed of the entire operation. So, how do we fix it? Well, it builds into this really practical 5-step loop to systematically eliminate those weak links. Step 1, identify the constraint. You got to find the absolute slowest machine or process in your network. Step 2, exploit it, meaning make sure that specific machine is running at 100% capacity and literally never stops working. Step 3, subordinate everything else. Actually, slow down the rest of the factory to match that one machine's exact speed, otherwise you're just going to build up this massive pile of unfinished inventory. Step 4, elevate it. If the whole system is still dragging, well, spend the money, buy a second machine or upgrade that constraint. And finally, step 5, repeat. Because let's be real, once you fix that one bottleneck, a brand new one is going to pop up somewhere else in the chain. It is just this continuous loop of constantly leveling up your productivity. All right, we've made it to the final stage, level 4, global risks.
Whenever you step into the global arena, you suddenly have to dodge a whole new set of hazards. You're now dealing with severe macroeconomic risks. Take exchange rate fluctuations, for example. If the US dollar gets significantly stronger, well, suddenly your exports become way too expensive for foreign buyers, and your demand? It can literally plummet overnight. You've also got to navigate these super complex political and economic factors, especially things called non-tariff barriers. These are basically tricky government rules. Think strict import quotas or these hyper-specific local safety standards. They are designed specifically to keep foreign products out so they can protect their own local businesses. Honestly, you have to be incredibly agile to maneuver around all these global roadblocks.
And finally, to fully clear this competency, you absolutely have to master the ultimate endgame, the sustainability framework. Look, modern supply chain management isn't just about shuffling boxes from point A to point B anymore. It requires balancing 3 very distinct pillars. First up is environmental sustainability. This means actively reducing your carbon emissions, minimizing waste, maybe redesigning your packaging. Second is social sustainability. You have to ensure fair wages, safe working conditions, and absolutely maintain a strict zero-tolerance policy for forced labor anywhere in your network. And third, of course, is economic sustainability. Because at the end of the day, the business still has to actually be profitable if it wants to survive and, do some good in the world. So there you have it. We've completely broken down the anatomy, we've defeated the dreaded bullwhip effect, optimized our bottlenecks, and mapped out all those crazy global risks. But before we wrap up, I really want to leave you with this final thought to chew on while you study. Will your supply chain strategy actually survive the next massive global disruption? Because as we've seen today, having the right framework, it's not just about passing an exam. It's about building a resilient system that can actually withstand the real world. Keep leveling up that knowledge, guys, and I will catch you in the next explainer.